Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to all of you joining us from across the globe and different industries. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. First, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Wardia Jujai. I'm the category lead oncology for Gulf countries and diversity, equity, and inclusion council lead for the same cluster. AIWF and Pfizer will collaborate in 2022 and 2023 on a virtual panel series named Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion by Design, Women's Leadership and Legacy in Health, exploring salient diversity issue impacting women inclusion in global and more specifically in our region, Middle East and North Africa. I'm pleased today to be moderating the first virtual panel discussion, joined by high-level DEI panelists, and we will explore together the importance of mentorship, role modeling, recognition, and visibility in empowering women in Middle East and North Africa region to progress in their career, in discovery, innovation, research across the health sector. Let me now hand it over to one of the most accomplished leaders in Pfizer. Her passion, authenticity, energize and inspire all of us. Wala Al-Alami, our global influenza lead, and AIWF board member, who will say a few words on Pfizer Arab International Women Forum long-standing partnership. Wala?
Thank you, Wardia, for that overwhelming welcome. I'm truly humbled by the few words, and I would like to join you as well and welcome all the participants that are joining us today. I'm truly humbled to be sharing this welcome note on behalf of AIWF, as you mentioned, we're a proud member of their board now for a couple of years, but also humbled that you and the MENA Diversity and Inclusion Council have asked me to share these few words. So AIWF has 2 decades of long-lasting work in the MENA region. AIWF is an organization that is based out of London, and that spans over the entire Africa and Middle East region, actively working on empowering women as a driver of economic growth and societal contribution in the region. Pfizer is a proud partner, as you mentioned, Wardia, already for the last decade, and the IWF is also supported by global partners like PwC or PepsiCo, to name few. And so today, I'm very pleased to be opening the session for the D&I by Design, as you mentioned, a flagship initiative that Pfizer and AIWF are starting, and I'm looking very much forward to not only the series, but to the report that will be jointly published by Pfizer and AIWF on the role and impact of D&I and women empowerment in particular and the healthcare sector. So very pleased to be with you today. And I would like to thank as well our panelists joining us today. I'm very humbled to be sitting, along their sides and know how precious their time is, and super thankful that they are taking time of their busy schedule to join us today for, I'm sure, under your moderation, Wardia, but also with the panelists will be an insightful and fruitful discussion. So we'll start by introducing Dr. Mariam Matar, who's the founder and chairperson of the UAE Genetic Disease Association based in UAE. I know Dr. Matar for a long time, and I'm very inspired by the work she does. She will not be able to share her video today because she's not feeling well, and her joining us today, despite that, speaks to her engagement and commitment to the topic we're discussing today. So thank you, Dr. Matar, for joining us. We will also have with us Dr. Mahar Muzaini, who is a scientist and director in King Faisal Specialist Center in KSA and equally inspiring leader, and I look forward to hearing her thoughts around, role modeling, among others. And last but not least, Dr. Tekra Hassan, who is the Director of Zayed Herbal Complex Research and Innovation Center in the Department of Health of the UAE. So welcome to everyone, and in the name of AIWF and Pfizer. And with that, Wardia, hand over to you for what I'm sure will be an excellent moderation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Wala. As you mentioned, we have 4 panelists, 4 accomplished Arab women with us today. Many of you already know, and thanks for the introduction, Wala, a really all-star panel here. Let me share a bit about the sequencing today. So, as you mentioned, we have Dr. Matar with us, Dr. Maha, Dr. Dikra, and yourself, Wala. My first question is for Dr. Maha, so Dr. Matar, Maryam Matar. So if you can share with us some reflection, 5 minutes reflection from your experience, and given the diversity in UAE. UAE is a home for more than 200 nationalities. What is the importance of mentorship, role modeling, and exchanging knowledge between women of different backgrounds? Also, Dr. Matar, if you can share with us any thoughts on healthy competition between women and men in the workplace. Dr. Matar, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, my dear. And again, it gives me a great pleasure to be among so distinguished, with a pretty face and a bright mind, which is sometimes very difficult to combine. But you can see how beautiful is Arab woman. They are pretty with the black eyes and still with a so smart brain and shining 2X chromosome. Thank you very much for inviting me, and it gives me a great pleasure really to share with you my humble experience when it comes to the mosaic picture of my lovely country, United Arab Emirates, where we have more than 200 nationalities. And what makes it sometimes challenging and overwhelming, that we have those people who's coming from a very well-established and an excellent accumulative experience. They are coming with all their potential in our small country. But in the same time, as you see that the progress which is happening on all the levels when it comes to the youth, even some seniors, still this competition are going in the right direction. And that is a combination sometimes is rare to find in many countries. So based on my own personal experience, being in a position of Undersecretary of Public Health and Primary Health Care while I was only 28 years old, and later on being Director General as a first woman also in Dubai government to take this post to be a member of the Executive Council. When I was in this post as a first woman, I was surrounded by all gentlemen with Y chromosome and complemented with an X chromosome from their mothers. And with all the, let's say, the notion which I used to hear, how difficult it is, man will not give you chance, they feel you are competing them. On my personal experience, it was the other way around. You cannot imagine the great support I received from my colleague male, either if they are Emirati or non-Emirati. And on top of all of that, you can imagine at the age of 28, I was able to establish a very comprehensive advisory group around me, people from different nationalities, having an excellent experience. So instead of starting all the project from step 0, we were able to have a very healthy, well-defined jump to build on what they had already in their countries. And that itself, I believe, one of the main reasons of my success, that I was able to empower myself with a strong team who's better than me when it comes to experience and knowledge, as well as on the social level. So this is what I believe makes United Arab Emirates so unique. People, they work together as long as you have a very well-defined system around. And that's what makes United Arab Emirates different, and Dubai in particular, because it's not Miriam who will lead the whole progress. It is a system in place. If she was Miriam or anyone else in this place, they will be able to progress. But again, it will be in a different style. The other point, I will give chance for other speaker as well. Finally, when it's come to when it's come to the women in the field of science, again, this is my personal opinion. In my opinion, we as a female, still we didn't take all our rights when it's come into scientific research, leading this position. We are still, we can see a very few number of women coming forward. Regardless of how much the government is supporting us, the system is supporting us. I believe we as a woman need to support each other. We keep asking people to support us. We keep asking people to believe in us. But when we come to reality, unfortunately, based on my humble experience as well, the support which I got from male colleague was far, far much better when it comes from a female colleague, unfortunately. So this is a challenge where we ourselves, putting ourselves in it. As a woman, we need to support each other more, and I believe we can do better. And we can achieve all if we bring all that platform. And I started with myself. When I take that post, there were only one female leading those 12 departments. And before the end of the 13 month of my first day entering in this position, I made the picture other way around. So 12 of the directories, 11 of them were female and one male. And again, my criteria was not female. I went to the HR department and I asked them, please give me the most qualified physician in the field of leadership and public health. And hooray, they were all females. So again, it's not a female or male, but we as a woman, we have to dig around, find the potential female, and by this we can achieve a lot and we can do much better than what we are doing now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Matar, for being such an inspiring leader and paving the way for more women in UAE. Now we're going to move to Dr. Maha Al-Muzaini. And Dr. Maha, could you please share with us how mentorship and empowering system that encompass policies has worked well in your career? And what was some of the best practices you can share with us?
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for giving me this chance to participate in this panel with such distinguished colleagues of mine. And this is a beautiful talk that is dear to my heart, which is addressing women leadership, especially in healthcare. I have to elaborate on what Dr. Matar previously just said, is that we do have a low number, despite the support of our governments, even in Saudi Arabia, we have women empowerment in all sectors. And despite all this, we still see the same thing in science and in research and in healthcare. So I agree with Dr. Matar, is that it's the same situation that we see here in the Gulf region with the global level, is that 70% of your healthcare workers are female, but there's only small percentage who reach these C-suite and executive or CEO levels. Now, the question would be, why is that? And Dr. Matar addressed a great aspect, which is women, they need to support each other. I would like to emphasize on the mentorship thing. And mentorship is essentially, and it's very important, especially in healthcare sector. And especially if you want to embark into leadership role. If you look into the most successful people around you right now, either entrepreneur or musicians or physicians, I'm sure that they had the great mentorship during their career development. So they will teach them the ins and outs, how to cope with stress. And to be honest, women in healthcare, especially, they need the right mentorship. We have different challenges than our male colleagues. We are mothers, we are daughters, we take care, we have families, and we struggle to achieve the balance between these two. So the right mentorship gives us a safe environment to open up, even if it's it's new or something that you're not aware of, it makes you comfortable to raise this issue and to get your feedback without being shy. So when you accept the criticism and then you grow from that. So mentorship is really is a major issue, and it's a major challenge in this aspect. I would say that I would like to share two personal stories quickly. For example, when I did my PhD and I came back, I did my PhD in Imperial College School of Medicine, and I came back to Saudi, and my mentor at that time just retired. So I was stuck at that time. We didn't have much PIs. So I had to travel. I took all my daughters and we traveled to Boston to do my postdoc fellowship, where I was mentored over there. So I think having the right, I was lucky to have this opportunity to travel and to be mentored and not to waste time, but others didn't have that opportunity. So I think we need to have our social network. We need to increase our social network and create one as well. And then the other thing that our role is to be role models in mentoring. So what I'm trying to do at a personal level is mentor the next generation through my teaching and my training in my lab. And I think it's going well, because one of my trainee who was here a couple of years ago, she pursued the same line of career in HIV/AIDS research. She went to master's in New York University School of Medicine, and now she's in Mount Sinai doing her PhD. So mentoring does make a difference, and I think I will leave it at that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maha. And from your perspective, how we can amplify it?
Yes, so one aspect that is very important about mentorship is not everyone can be a mentor. There are certain traits of good traits and bad traits. So you need to avoid the bad traits. I think the best way is that we need to do a network of women in science. We talk about it a lot. Every meeting, I've seen people talk about the need of networking. Nobody is taking the step towards that. If we do have this network, I think we can support each other, because the challenges that we face are similar, and we can help each other grow.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maha. Now we will hear from Dr. Dikra Hassan. So, Dr. Dikra, could you please shed some light on how UAE leaders are supporting women in medical field? Any best practice in mind? What is the importance of recognition, mentoring, and role modeling from your perspective?
Thank you, dear. Actually, I'm so happy to be with you all today. And it is a pleasure for me to sit with leadership women in UAE and from Gulf country. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. Indeed, the experience of empowering women in the UAE is a unique, and it is a distinctive experience. And it relied on the direction of the wise leadership since the establishment of the UAE until today. Our founding father, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan, who put the first building block for the empowerment of women in the United Arab Emirates. And he has an important quote that is really heart-touching, where he said, "Nothing can make me happier than seeing women occupying their privileged position in the society." Actually, gender equality is in all areas, and it is a part of our UAE national agenda. And here I want to highlight on the impact of having a positive role modeling on women career progression and on motivation and the self-belief. In my life, I've been inspired by so women who came before me and who paved the way for us to be in the medical field and to continue and making change that enhance the life of women, men, children in the UAE and around the world. For me, my role model, truly speaking, is Her Highness Sheikha Fatima, the mother of the nation. Actually, I consider her as an example of the willpower and the persistence. By the grace of God and her continuous support and effort for the Emirati women, we as a women in UAE became one of the leading country in terms of women empowerment. You can see the result as described by Dr. Amata or by my colleague from Saudi. In UAE specifically, the investment of UAE in empowering women, it can be seen in the different institutions in Abu Dhabi and around the UAE. You can see female doctors, pharmacists, allied health practitioners who alongside men working together in the medical field. The proportion of women, as stated, is far more beyond the men, and even in having a higher position at executive level as well. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dikra. Very inspiring on how UAE are advancing toward empowering more women. Wala, over to you. Building on Dr. Dikra Hassan's comments and also on the MENA's allies and reflecting on the pandemic, what has changed in the past few years? And what have we learned about flexibility, flexible working hours, policies? Do we need to accelerate discussions on eliminating gender bias from workplace policies to ensure that companies do not revert back to old ways of working?
Yeah, thank you. I agree with you. It has been truly inspiring to listen to my fellows panelists today, and I agree that government and policies in the Gulf have done huge effort, and it's reflecting on the workforce, and if we were to look to the broader Arab world or even the region we belong to, we will see a similar momentum with women gaining in leadership in Lebanon, Egypt, North Africa, you name it. And even now, since I moved to outside of the region, in Europe, and I'm engaged in the same conversation, you realize there are a lot of things in common between women that are aspiring in leadership, regardless of the cultural background. So I just wanted to anchor, that as well, so that our discussion really speaks to women, whatever they are in the region and in the globe, because the challenges are same in shape or form, maybe different colors only. So with that said, as you mentioned, I think what hasn't changed is the role that women play in terms of accelerating and contributing to the economy, and everything that we've heard from the panelists continue to hold true. That said, COVID has significantly changed and had a significant impact on women in the workforce. You look at the numbers, COVID has put on hold the progress we've been making on the parity goals and regressed our progress in many areas where women had made progress. So when you look into, and everything has been very positive so far, so I don't want to sound negative, but I thought it was important for us to take a moment and take a pause and really look at how even more serious the discussion we're having now is post-COVID, because the work index fell for the first time ever in history during the pandemic. Women have suffered disproportionate job and income impacts and losses compared to men because of, one, we heard it, their overrepresentation in some of the hardest hit sectors, but also in the front line, in addition to being responsible of doing a majority of care work at home, which is not, as we know, paid. So a lot of us that are actively involved in that field have been talking about the pandemic creating a she session versus the he session. So all previous crises at the global level, just think about 2008 as the most recent one, impacted men more than women. This time, for the first time, COVID is different. So women have been significantly important, and that's important for us to pause and say everything that we've been doing is great, but we have to do more because we went backwards. with women. So, and that's true at all levels. You have the broken rung that continues to be true for women at an entry level. And for the first time in history, we've seen women in leadership position deciding to do what everybody has been calling the great, resignation, because they are looking for a different way of working. I think all of us on this panel and everywhere, the pandemic gave us the opportunity to pause and think about what is it that we want when it comes to our work-life integration. And reality is, as now we are thinking about this new norm, even if COVID continues to be with us, we're thinking about this new norm. We know for sure that there are things that women want to see, continue happen for them to continue contribute and advance in leadership position. So we've been talking a lot about the build back better norms. So we are ready to go back to work, but what are the new norms that will reflect what we have learned from the pandemic? The key word that I'm sure everybody has in mind and has heard is flexibility. Because we know, we've learned this from the pandemic, but we know that this is, a build back better for women. So I wanted to share with you some of the specific build better norms for post-pandemic that could potentially help all women, regardless of their cultural background, their color, their geographic distribution, could help them to thrive and continue to achieve the amazing contribution that we know they are able to do from a societal but also economic perspective. I think we need to continue promote the equal pay for equal work. And this has been a key topic for the pandemic, and I think we need to continue work on it so that we accelerate progress on that topic. And the second is promote more women in the decision-making position. And we know, I agree with Dr. Matar that we have to work more women among women, but the fact is that the more we have women at a high level representing women, the more the policies and decision-making that will be done will be adapted to women. So that's second. The third one, which is, I think hot topic now, is the flexible working. And there are tons of shape and form of flexible working, working from home, hybrid, reduced hours, condensed hours. This is not, I think, this forum to decide, but what we've seen in the latest report of McKinsey, Deloitte of 2022, is only 1 out of 10 women are willing to work mostly on site and would prefer a hybrid work option so that they're able to really acquire that healthy integrated life balance that makes them and help them to thrive. And before the last point, I want to emphasize that when we think about preferences of women for policies that promote more healthy life work integration, flexibility being one of them, it's not because working from home is just more comfortable. It's because we have seen that this decreases the microaggressions that sometimes happen in the workplace, decreases the rate of harassment if it exists, and also gives just a higher level of psychological safety to women that just helps them to feel better and thrive better. And so lastly, I think the 2 cents that I want to throw out there for us to discuss more is the build back better norms will be essential for the society, for companies to accelerate women representation at all levels, from the broken rung that we see at an entry level to the breaking the glass ceiling. And that acceleration in policies needs to start now, so that we can catch up on what COVID created in terms of regression. So that would be my few words on the topic, Wardia.
Thank you so much, Farah. To your point, the glass ceiling, Maybe within the Arab world, this glass ceiling is thicker, so it's maybe less easier for a woman in an Arab environment due to the cultural differences to break through this glass ceiling versus Western women. So if we look into what are the key barriers that are inhibiting women from becoming leaders in the health, pharma, and medical sectors, this is a question that many have in mind, and maybe Dr. Maha can relate on, and of course of any other speaker who wants to say a few words.
Okay, so can you hear me?
We do.
Okay, so there's a couple of barriers that keeps women reaching the top. I would say most commonly is the lifestyle choices. That is, you have to think about you want to achieve in your work environment, as well as you want to do all your home and mother and whatever. So the balance, you want to keep that balance, and this struggles them. And I think this needs to be addressed in different way. The individual mindset, this is most importantly, is we change our mindset of things. We feel we should be more confident about our work. We should not criticize ourselves much. There's a lot of ladies that I have seen that struggle with this. And I would say also the institutional mindset is that they also need to give a chance of women to be, a decision maker. There's also structural barriers, and this goes within the systems and different organizations, and this is different from one institute to another. So I think these are the most common ones.
Can I elaborate on what my lovely sister and my dear friend Meha is saying? Meha, it's always good to see you, Habibti.
Likewise. Salamat ya Dictora.
Allah يسلم عليك يا رب. Can I elaborate on what Dr. Meha just now said?
Of course.
So I agree with her completely, and allow me to share with you some personal experience where I believe being in a leadership position helped me a lot to try to break this barrier indirectly. At the time when I was Undersecretary of Public Health and Primary Health Care, there were no single discussion in regard freezing the egg of females who is above 30 and she's willing to continue her study, but still she is so worried about the quality of the children if she will get them after 40. So this was one of my personal mission where I worked on it very hard way, and I did a lot of lobbying for this declaration and legislation to pass on.
Nice.
And I came to know that they were lacking the infrastructure, the proper accreditation, center where we can do. So with the great support of a real gentleman colleague, we were able to pass a law in United Arab Emirates where any female can freeze her eggs in cases she would like to continue her study, because I came to know it's very difficult to change communities. And usually it takes 2 to 3 generations. And if we talk about United Arab Emirates, 40 years, it means a lot. So we can use other tools as a woman and as a physician and as a scientist to be in a leading position. We can accelerate some of those steps where we can help a colleague and help our sisters and our daughters to proceed faster than what we've done. And at the same time, what we were able to do with the great support of the system in United Arab Emirates, and for sure our leaders, when it comes to to females in this position, you can see that when we talk about United Arab Emirates, and I will mention, for example, somebody like Dr. Gargash, she was the first gynecologist physician in United Arab Emirates. And by default, we can feel that all those pioneer female, they are directly or indirectly getting all the young generation under their wings. And I feel that it was inherited as a default, as a mother and as a caregiver. So we as a female, we tend to play the game in the other way around. Unfortunately, with a male leading any field, not only the science and medicine, any field in humanity, they tend to bring themselves only as a superior because they have their own, let's say, taboo in an environment where they like to have a nasty joke, where they would like to spend a quality time away from female. But we as a female leaders, we make sure that we give a very fair treatment for the male and female colleagues. So we don't have such testosterone drive. We have our balance between our testosterone, where every female is having, and we have the softness of our estrogen. So this combination itself, by nature, we were able to make sure to progress, to help the humanity to progress in a smooth way, where equity somehow is in the center of such acceleration. And finally, I would like to compliment on our lovely Emirati gentlemen. I cannot compare them to any other gentleman in the region. I have to be fair to Emirati gentlemen. They are not only male, they are true gentlemen, from the leaders to the brother, to the husband, colleague in the workplace. You cannot imagine how gentle they are. And when I talk about Emirati gentlemen in the community, I can resonate some of the stories, personal stories, which some of colleagues are sharing with us, not in this session, I mean, in other discussions from the region. I can feel how different are Emirati gentlemen. They are so confident in themselves that they push the female to go forward by all means, and you can feel it, see it, and even the non-Emirati can see that. So we as Emirati women, I believe we are lucky, but that doesn't mean we are better or smarter than any other Arab women. We are simply lucky with our leaders, lucky with our gentlemen, and lucky with the 200 nationalities who came all the way with their accumulative experience to help us to build our small nation, which is considered a global country.
Thank you, Dr. Matar. Now let's move to Dr. Hassan. As a follow-up to this question, what is your advice to women on how they can break through this glass ceiling and this barrier?
Hi, dear. As Dr. Matar just mentioned, actually during my experience, as she mentioned, we are so lucky in UAE. The issue, we don't see such barriers. We don't face such challenges because our leadership make the good direction in supporting a lady. And as mentioned, the gentleman, our colleague here, we don't push on them actually. Having a higher position for me as a female or male does not make any difference because both gender, they deal with the colleagues and in mentoring young employee, let's say ladies, in very supportive way. I may not be the proper person to be asked this question because based on my experience and the environment I live in, actually we don't see any challenges, dear.
Wonderful. Maybe a question to Dr. Dwala. So maybe your thoughts on the organizational part of the challenges a woman can face throughout her career.
Yeah, I think I want to take a step back, or before talking about the challenges, because in your first question that you mentioned, I think there are challenges, and again, everywhere, but it starts with women, with us first, because it's often easy. I don't want to use the word easy as underestimating the size of the challenges. But it could be easy to just give up because you say the environment is too hard. And I'm sure, of course, our Emiratis, panelists are lucky, and Saudis are doing great progress, and so forth and so forth. But we cannot only, look into the environment and say we're lucky. What about those that are not lucky? And so it starts with, with women, and I'm sure each one here will have, and everywhere would have stories about what is it that they've done to still progress, because I just find it super challenging to look at the challenges in this case, you will not dream big, you will not progress. We have to look at it the other way around. And it starts with us women having the aspiration, you know, to grow, having the aspiration to lead, and being confident that we can do that. When you aim high, you find solutions, you develop resilience, because you know the journey is not going to be easy. And I think that's really the core, because if we don't develop that willpower, that grit, that winning mindset, there will be a lot of challenges that can prevent us from progressing. And so everything that we heard, you know, women not supporting women in some instances, or men not being allies enough, or the society putting pressure, all these challenges for young leaders that are aspiring will come, you know, down the road. That's clear, but it doesn't matter, because what makes a difference is your willingness and your confidence that you can make progress, your willingness to raise your hand, your willingness to reach out, you know, to the peers here, to those that have been through the journey before, so that you start from where others have landed. I have not in my entire career reached out once to a mentor, woman or man, and just asked for advice and found the closed door. So what I want to say, Wardia, is it's important to raise our hand. It's important to dream big. It's important to be resilient. And it's important to ask, because I have never seen someone come to you and say, you know what, this is your growth opportunity, take it. And even when it happens, we say, oh, I'm not sure I'm ready. This is just how we are. And so we have to work on ourselves before blaming the environment, men, and everyone else. We have to start with ourselves, and then be very purposeful about where we want to go, and just be ready. The journey is not smooth, but it's worth the ride. I think this is what I wanted to share, and it's super important for all of us to keep that resilience, that grit, and not take no for an answer, because we know that we can make a difference.
Thank you, Wala. Dr. Mahan, you thought?
Honestly, as mentioned by Wala, there is support from the government, and there is chances for us to excel. There's opportunities. It's us, as you mentioned. We need to believe in ourselves. It's change the mindset. And I think this is the crucial part, is changing the mindset. And ask for help. This is the only thing. And I agree. It's beautiful panel, a beautiful discussion. Thank you.
Do I have a chance to share with all the panel within less than a minute, a personal experience again when it's come to female in the leadership?
Of course, Dr.
Yes.
Matar.
It goes back to 2011 when I was getting through the subspecialty of clinical genetics, and I came to know how different we are as a female when it comes to response to different medication, different infection, and how we respond to different interleukins on different levels. So I had a discussion with a junior pharmacist. It was an international forum. I said, why we don't have any specific instruction about specific dose for female, duration? Why all the medication comes with one recommendation for male and female? The only differentiation is the age group, which is going on for centuries. She said, you know, this is a good idea, but, you know, this is a protocol, rules, regulation, we need all to follow. So she was junior at that time, 2011. Then I raised this issue the next summer with 5 senior pharmacists and one of the three biggest pharma company globally. And they said, yeah, Dr. Miriam, this is a good thought, but you know, we need to open a new chain. This means we need to put more budget, and it will recruiting female during clinical trials. You cannot imagine. It was afternoon. I felt it was 2 a.m. with all the darkness and the challenges they listed for me, maybe more than 10. I said, oh my God, khalas. You can imagine the summer after that, which was 2013, I had a discussion with a very senior female in one of the pharma company where they take care of rare diseases. and it was in Switzerland. And I shared with her, said, Miriam, why not? Let's see how we can explore it. In 2017, I was invited in one of the conference where she was sharing with all the audience in Abu Dhabi her new approach, where she will make sure there is a fair representation of female for any new medication. Her company will take lead in it. You can imagine when a female on a position, in a leading position, she can do a lot. There is too many females who's having bright ideas, a lovely thought, but if they are not in a leadership position, they won't be able to execute. That's why we need more female on board. And now we know with the scientific evidence that, as you know, mitochondria is the main reason of any civilization on planet Earth, because you need an energy to think about. And we know that every human being, they get their mitochondria from a female, from their mother. So we need to take the lead. We are the main reason behind everything. So by force, we need to ask for leading that group. We need to ask for giving us an opportunity to lead. And as Dr. Meha and the rest of the panelists, we need to ask for our right. We need to come forward, and you will be surprised that people will give you what you are asking for.
Yes.
I was astonished in all those places when I asked for something which I thought, oh, the worst thing, they will say no. And I get surprised. Sometimes I'm not ready even to take that lead because they told me, yes, you can lead, Miriam, but I'm not ready. So this is
a change of mindset, the changing of mindset. Yes, absolutely.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Sorry.
No, Dr. Madar, you mentioned very something that is really, it's a funny story as well. If you see Grey's Anatomy textbook for medical school, it's based on an average male body, right? They never
white male body.
and we there's like a lot of physiology, chemistry, everything is totally different from a male versus female body. So we're missing lots of opportunities in women's health as well.
Not anymore, Meha.
Hopefully, yes.
With your help and everyone else, I think we will be doing very well for the coming generation, inshallah.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Mariam.
Thank you, Dr. Mariam, Dr. Meha, and Wala. So please share your questions to the audience on the chat. We'll be happy to address them. Now I have, building on the conversation, what is, from your perspective, what would you consider to be the key diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies that healthcare companies, hospitals, research centers can implement to support work-life balance and encourage women to aim for career progression and senior leadership? If we look into the WHO data, 70% of healthcare workers are women. However, mainly in the leadership position, the number is less. So what would be the strategies that private and public institutions can put together to improve and support the women in leadership?
Diversity and inclusion.
Could you please unmute yourself? Yeah, thank you. Dr. Meha, maybe?
Yeah, I can share something. We've seen the latest reports that women leading startup in healthcare sector, they deliver around 35% better returns, and they offered 6 times more jobs than ever. And yet, with all these positive returns, there is little investment in startups for women in healthcare. So you mentioned how we can improve this. I think again, it's going out there more, being confident. I think the only thing that I find that is weak among us is that we don't believe in ourselves as much as we are capable. We have the capabilities, we have the science, we have the credentials. We just need to be stronger enough to put your voice out there. That's it.
Maybe I can build on that. I agree with Dr. Mahfouli. I think one of the learnings that we had in the last couple of years, because you spoke about institutions in private and public, or it's to create the forums in this institution where like employees can really have a voice, so that policies are not just set in stone, but there is a dialogue that is established on how people can thrive in what they do. So first of all is to create that environment and openness where institutions, both public and private, feel confident to be able to listen to maybe some ideas that could be challenging from the culture they currently have. So that would be the first step, and it does require a culture that includes openness as a pillar.
Actually, Wala, can I just say something?
Sure,
I think I agree with my colleagues from UAE. The goal right now, and leading Saudi Arabia is leading women empowerment. So this is our time to make a change. We have all the support, and we have it's out there. We just need to support ourselves to reach there, and then we can help others. So I think this is the best time to start.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yes. Can I add again?
Sure,
yeah, I do agree with all the point which was mentioned. And again, I'll go on a personal experience where reflected positively and had a huge dimension in the community itself. Maybe there is too many people against quota, but in my opinion, the best and the most powerful tool we can enforce female in a leading position, we need to have a quota. And that's what happened in United Arab Emirates. Because women, they don't ask, because there is some social barriers, the government had to take some lead. So there were a forced quota for our national committee, where there should be at least 10% female of any board, in any board of any organization belong to the government. And that started back in 2010 or 2008 maybe. So with these quota, the whole community start to see that as soon as women came on the board of that organization, there is some differences. And after 2 years, the community themselves and the organization themselves started to increase the quota. So right now, the government is not asking more than 10%, but you get surprised that our parliament, now they have 51% female. And again, the government only started with 10%. While the organization and the community themselves starting welcoming female with more percentage. So I believe as a human being, sometime if we would like to do a dramatic change, we need to enforce some force. And I believe in quota, if we have it as a policy on United Nations level where we enforce a quota of a female, regardless, people will say, there should be a criteria regards the quota. No, we need to have a quota. Let other community members see what difference will happen if female will jump in as a quota. And you can see United Arab Emirates, it's a good example, and Saudi Arabia following the same, other GCC country following the same. We need to support each other. Yes, that's true. But again, I came to know the value of policy and law. With law, you can do dramatic change. For example, again, on a personal level, back in 2000, I started a campaign where I was trying to educate the community to do a genetic test before proceeding with marriage, with any partnership engagement. And things was going in a scary slowness from 2000. But you cannot imagine. In 2005 March, when I was the guest of honor in the cabinet, and His Highness approved the law where no one get married in our lovely country unless they will be screened for common genetic disorder and sexually transmitted disease. Things, mashallah, accelerated in such way that everybody's following. Now, nobody will say, no, they are not from the same tribe, they have to get married. The same is applicable in women engagement and leadership. We need to have quota.
It's great to see how having a seat at the table makes a difference. Dr. Hassan, any thoughts?
Yes, actually, I may add on my colleague thought. We know that we are a women. There is no doubt that we are a powerful force. And it is important to encourage the female colleague to get their leadership potential and learn from other leaders. I think developing a leadership program, and we as a ladies, we cannot reach a top, let's say, position unless we will be qualified and learned well. And think by this, we will have the skill development and the good strategy to reach such high positions and to be effective.
I agree, Dr. Hassan. There is nothing called, like a given opportunity. Competence, is key. And once you reach that stage, this is where, we talk about bias and all other barriers that could prevent women from progressing. But I agree with you that competence is key.
We have a beautiful question from the audience here. A colleague is writing, I have a baby girl and I want a bright future for her. What values should I transmit to her? What values has made you successful as a woman?
I can start. Yeah. I can start because I've been thinking of the same question. I don't know who asked the question, but I have a daughter myself, and I see how I'm raising her, and I'm actually almost every day reflecting on how my parents raised me, because in reality, in all transparency and on, I would never be who I am without the education that I had, not because of my diplomas, not because of my experience or the work that I do. It's really how my parents raised me. So on a personal level, we are two in my family. I have a younger brother, and throughout the journey, there has never been any mention of any barrier of any type to me versus my brother. I have been raised with the mindset that why not you, and why not aspiring for more, and why you value yourself. And so that confidence, that trust as well. I remember when I was 17 and sent abroad alone for my education. I'm still wondering now if I'm strong enough to do that for my own daughter. And so when my parents did that with the trust and empowerment, that just made of me another person. So definitely the women that are here, leaders, I'm sure, at least I can speak for myself, I will not have done anything without the education and the values that my family and my parents, I actually rose me with and continue, to support me and inspire me and mentor me throughout the journey. So spot on question, and it's our responsibility to raise our daughters with the right, value of trust, confidence, empowerment, equal, opportunities, and just resilience to be able to achieve our dreams. That will be my 2 cents to start with.
May I also say something on this question?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So I'm a proud mother of 3 daughters, and just like Wala said, it's that you build the trust, confidence. You teach them these traits and to be independent. You encourage STEM. Expose them to different STEM during their early stage of life, like even during their elementary school. Expose them to everything and see what they're interested in. And I think this has really great impact, and never interfere with their choices. For example, my eldest daughter, she graduated a long time ago, back in 2009 from high school, and she decided to pursue a male-dominant career, which is electric engineer. And at that time, we didn't have electric engineer. The universities here don't offer this for females. So, but now they do. So I had to send her abroad, like Wala, and she became among the first electric engineers, and now she is running a big program at the Ministry of Energy with his HRH, his Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman. So she's a role model now to other Saudi females there. And this is I think this is what I wanted to share, is just give them the confidence, not interfere, and they will, inshallah, do their best in their career.
Congratulations, Dr. Maha, to you.
Thank you.
This is an amazing, proof of, how you raised your daughter as well. Congratulations to you.
And wait, you have to see how, mashallah, they are very well mannered. Mahad daughters, very well mannered, mashallah, you know, for their age, for the place where they are coming from, very well mannered, very humble, mashallah, all the three of them, tabarak rahman.
When sometimes they are so stressed out, they always want the best and everything, and I think I created monsters in this when they were kids. So they, when I try to sometimes slow them down, she starts telling me, Mom, you set the bar so high, so we need to be like that. We need to do it. So I think, setting examples, mentoring, it goes, at home and beyond that.
And I would like to add one point. Again, today I'm trying to share my personal experience as the other colleague. I believe all what they've said, it's really true and very essential for us to be a good role model and make sure that the future is brighter for our children. But allow me to share with you in my opinion, was one of the main pillars of why me or my sisters, we are, mashallah, we are leading different sector in our lovely country. We were raised, and my both parents, they don't write and read. But 9 of us, we are all highly educated, alhamdulillah. We are 5 sisters and 4 brothers. But you cannot imagine, I believe, even we as a brother and sister, we always remind my mother, we told Mama, thank you for what you taught us in this level. Imagine when we were in I was in grade 4, and similar with my all other brothers and sisters, we had a nanny. She's from India, and she was Hindu, which means she's not Muslim. She has a different religion completely. So my mother, she taught us and she raised us in a way where we respect her religion, and she used to allow her to proceed with the way she wanted to pray to God. Not only that, even my mother, she didn't allow us to call her nanny. She said, Mama, she's doing great job for all of you. You have to call her mother Shakuntala. Her name is Shakuntala. We used to call her Ma Shako. You can imagine these are small things which my mother showed us as a role, as an example, allowed me and other people in my family to accept other people. And I believe this is was one of the main pillars which help us to integrate ourselves in different society where we have to go. For example, I did my post-graduation in Japan, but I still was able to go very smoothly with other culture, and the same with my brother, with all my other sister. I believe this one of the elements which I think made us a little bit different, but I cannot say better than any other Emirati families. But I believe this part, my mother helped us a lot to understand the difference and accept the difference as well.
Maria, if you allow me to add one element that is, super important. I'm sure all the panelists know it and mean it, but we did not say love as well. Like love regardless, no matter what. Is super important because it does nourish, the personality of people. And I don't want to miss the opportunity to just share, I think, what has impressed the entire world about we're in the World Cup, about the Moroccan team. So
yeah, mashallah.
Morocco, originally, and every single,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll tell you something funny. My sister-in-law, she was refusing my brother to get married with a Moroccan lady. But the other day, after they won, she said, now he has a
different perspective.
Yeah, he was saying, see, now you should allow me to go and get married to a Moroccan lady, so I will get a good football player for the nation,
Yeah, actually, we give many great things as well. More than
Sure, it's only a joke, my dear.
As you know, Dr. Mariam, very well. But what I wanted to say is I think it made me reflect a lot, and I'm sure many of us around the world around
Absolutely.
the fact that these players go back to their mom, you know,
Indeed.
to thank them and kiss them, and they're very different backgrounds, you know, for the players. So while we are as women and parents always looking for the best, and I've been pushed, you know, hard, and we push hard as well. I really think that nurturing the fundamental values of our children and people around us with empathy, love, regardless if we fail, we continue to love, is what makes a human being balanced, confident, you know, and healthy in their mind and spirit, which makes a good human being beyond everything. So I think we should not underestimate the unconditional love that we should give to our children, daughter in particular, to raise them confident no matter what.
Absolutely, I agree. And I do apologize. It was only a joke,
no,
you know, which happened.
I know. Yeah. I know. But it's, you made a good point, and I agree. I think I know this is not the topic today, but I agree that many people just discovered, you know, a lot about what the Moroccan culture is about versus perceptions and biases that existed before. So I take it with, you know, with open heart, because what you mentioned was spot on in its reality. And I'm so pleased personally, and I'm biased here as Moroccan, but I'm super pleased that, you know, the real cultural values that we display in our world in general, not only in Morocco, but in the Arab and actually also Islamic world, of respect, tolerance, you know, values have been shown in that World Cup, and we give a different face of what we bring to the world. So
you made us all happy, and I always remind my husband and all the male, by the way, they are powerful because they have an excellent mitochondria which they got from their mother, so they all become quiet, you know. It's not because of them, it's because of the mitochondria.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, we wish you to win in the coming game. Actually, we were so excited about the previous game. And as you mentioned, it's really heart-touching when you saw all these players go to their mom. And I do believe the mother role is only not by only giving direction or pushing. It is by being, you act normal. You be confident when you deal with your kids. You make sure that you are beautiful from inside and outside. Yeah. Care about your health, care about your work, care about doing sport. And all this will be reflected indirectly on your kids, specifically the girls.
I agree. And you know, the last point, and it's a personal perspective, so you take it with a grain of salt, but you know, throughout my career as I've been growing, I've been asked, you know, like, how do you prioritize, you know, work with family, etc. And I'm saying, I'm not prioritizing. My priority is clear. You know, I'm a mother and a wife that is excellent in what she does at work. So I'm not prioritizing, you know, my first duty is really to be a great mom, great daughter and great wife. And it happens that I can do many other things in parallel. And I think to the young generation, and I'm not the only one, everyone can do that. And I really think that it's important that we aspire, go big, etc. But I would say never at the detriment of not raising, you know, like a solid family, because we are only as strong as leaders as we're happy at home and happy of what we're accomplishing at home as well. So that's my personal perspective. And I don't think we have to choose between being a great mom, a super wife, and a great daughter, friend, etc., and a strong leader. I just think that we bring our whole self entirely to work, and this is what makes us, you know, and allow us to bring the value we bring. And that's super important for the young generation, not to have to choose between career and personal life, because they go together.
Thank you, Ala. You know, we didn't deviate. In fact, we're referring to the amplification and I think a visibility. So this is definitely building on our conversation. So thank you very much. We have a question, an interesting one in the chat from Dr. Assam Sharabi. What advices would you like to give to male colleagues to support women's leadership? He means at all level, junior, senior, and executive levels. Who wants to take this question? Maybe.
Okay, it's okay. I can't handle this question.
Yes.
Actually, I will advise any male to encourage ladies. Everyone needs encouragement, uplifting, inspiring word will affect. And specifically for ladies, these things will be very effective. But please consider when you encourage or mentor any lady or a woman, first recognize her value, acknowledge the obstacle that she feels. I think a lot to come once we understand who is this lady, what is actual value she need to be considered during her mentoring, let's say, or during her work, understanding her own personality and deciding what's really make her happy. This is what will make difference. Because what will make me happy is different than what make other lady happy. Everyone has his priority. So this is a main thing to be considered while encouraging a lady or mentoring any lady.
Thank you, Dr. Hassan. Dr. Matar, Dr. Maha, any
Yeah.
thought?
I would like to add something as well. Well, I think in this regard, any gender issue here, he should mentor them equally, see their value as my colleague mentioned, and mentor them regardless of the gender issues. And let them have in mind always that this could be your sister, your daughter, your wife, and you want the best for her. So just give her a chance. That's it.
Thank you.
Nadia, can I add a point?
Sure, sure. Of course.
I think first of all, asking the question is great. I think we've achieved a lot during this panel, to trigger that. So I'm happy that personally, that you're asking the question. I think understanding that the needs are different, as Dr. Maha mentioned, is important, and asking, having the empathy to put yourself in, your colleagues' shoes, and also try to understand how does it feel, from their perspective. What does it look like from a woman perspective? And being aware of that is already an amazing way to remove the bias and that single view of all realities, and that makes just managers better, leaders better, when they have that way of thinking that there could be differences, and I need to be aware that these differences exist, to ask the question and adapt.
Can I also add something? I think most of the successful ladies that are here these days, they have been mentored by males, and it's a fact. And when we talk about women empowerment, we don't want to scare men on this word, women empowerment. No, we want them to help us in our journey, teach us, train us, mentor us. They're more experienced in the field than us. Share their expertise. It's not something bad. And we can go in this journey together. It's not to take over, and we don't want to scare them with this. Yes.
Can I elaborate with a different dimension, if possible?
Of course.
Yeah. So my answer, I think my colleague, they mentioned all those essential points, and I would like to highlight an area. As you know, there is some big differences between the 30 days which we as a female go through and the 30 days where our male colleague goes through. We as a female, we have our own physiology where we have 5 days of the month we are under control of the nasty estrogen with high level and other hormones. So I believe, as they used to teach us how to deal with different age group, any male, in my opinion, they have to understand that a female passed through specific days, and for them to understand is important, but also for them to know why, that it's not something she can control. And it shouldn't be taken in a negative way. In my opinion, it should be taken in another way, where if he has a female and he wants her to be in a leading position, sometimes it's good to remind the female or the HR director that and again, that on a personal level, the two decisions which I regret today, I came to know that I took them when I was in the first day of my period. And I was not aware that this physiological change, it affects us. So from that day, I decided in any new position or project when I will lead, I will have at least 5 members of the team are very close to me, are involved deeply in each stage, because I found out that this step itself helped me a lot to take a wise decision and take the opinion of others, especially if I am in that first or second day of my period. And no one, I tried too many recipes, didn't work. While if you have those team around you, where you take their advice, when you think you need a second thought, I think that was very helpful. And the good part of it, even I discussed the same subject in 2015 with Monash leadership and I forgot the name of the college. Anyhow, that they need to enroll this program in the leadership, because all the leadership program I've been through, I didn't even take one single lesson where people will tell me what is the difference between female leadership and male leadership. And in 2015, we raised this up with our colleague in Monash and NCI University. And right now, mashallah, you can see they can clearly differentiate female leadership and male leadership. So I believe everyone should take this in thought, and the HR department should bring this in thought even when they do any introduction for a new leadership within the organization.
Thank you, Dr. Matar. We are really bridging into we are getting close to the end of the panel today, and I would like to invite all of you with the last thought on or recommendation in less than a minute that addresses the question of how we can empower women leaders in health and medicine in this region, and what DEI strategies we need to deploy to mainstream, just as a key takeaway message. So maybe I'm going to start with you, Dr. Matar.
Keep me for the end, if it is possible, okay. Because I was coughing. As soon as I talk, I need to cough for a few seconds.
Oh. Sure. Wala, maybe you're gonna start first.
Sure, happy to. So the few thoughts for women empowerment, that and everything. I think really it's a summary of everything that we have mentioned. So I will reiterate what I mentioned earlier, is to start with ourselves as women, invest in ourselves, in being ready for our dreams and aspiring big, to dare to dream big and pursue the journey. I think that's one. Second is the importance of women in leadership roles, and seeing them progress. So anything that can be done to promote women in leadership is essential, because they will play a role in influencing the policy, the regulations, etc., that will enable progress. The third point is, and I'm super happy to see questions equally from men and women. Women empowerment is not a problem of women for women. It's really the need of the society to be able to accelerate the economic growth. So it's a topic that is equally important for men and women, and that benefits both. So I really love to see men being involved, because we can really make a progress as a society if men are at the table as allies, because they see the value of the contribution that we do. And the fourth point is, this discussion is not outdated, because we have regressed with COVID, and we need really to bring our heads all together and join forces to continue the work that is ongoing for women advancement. So that would be my 4 points as key takeaway from the discussion. Worthy, I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you, Wala. Maybe Dr. Hassan can go next. Any final thoughts?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Wala. I will add, and I will describe the same what mentioned by Wala. It is, we need to work on ourselves for every woman who would like to have a good future. please educate yourself, improve your skills, and find for you someone to mentor you during your career pathway. And in addition to this, and make sure that this will require a conscious investment of your time and your mental energy. You need to develop a strategy for yourself that you will be committed to in a long-term basis, and you will conduct this on a long-term basis so you will achieve what you aim. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Dr. Hassan. Dr. Maha?
Yes, so as mentioned by my colleagues, is that you have to work on your skills, see what are the strengths and weaknesses, both, and work on them. And one advice for the young generation, if they want to pursue their leadership, if they want to pursue to leadership career, is work on different skills that are essential for leadership. So you cannot just seek leadership position without the solid ground. So financial leadership, emotional intelligence, complex management, all these can be offered, online, or can it be in like short courses. You need to improve these skills. And most of all, change your mindset, believe in yourself, be confident, accept criticism, because this will help you grow. Thank you.
Yes, now
Mr.
it's my
Matar?
turn. Yes, yeah. Thank you very much once again. When it comes to sharing experience rather than advice, in my opinion, again, on my personal level, one of the in different field is if you are a student or if you are a staff in any organization, if you would like to share to draw your dream, it's very important to go back to the strategy of the organization. So if you are a student, you are building your future, go to the strategy of the country and look at the sector. If you are in health sector, if you are in environmental sector, look at the country, what is their objective in the coming 30 years, and try to build your dream or wherever you would like to reach according to a path which will take you parallel or at least to the same direction of the country. And if you are in an organization and you would like to lead in any position, go back and look at the strategy of that organization and try to place yourself within one of the main strategy and work along that way. And by this, you would fit very well within the existing system, if it's belong to the organization or the country. And that itself will increase the success of your process during this development.
Thank you, Dr. Matar. On that note, we conclude this virtual panel event, the first in a series of 3 such events that AIWF and Pfizer will be co-hosting this year in 2023. Please do look out for the invitation to the next event in the series. I hope you all found today's discussion engaging and enlightening. Please ask yourself what all this conversation means to you, and most importantly, what can you do to move the needle forward? If you want to make a difference, if we want to make a difference, we must take a holistic approach, looking into ourselves within our community and bridging cross differences. Our warmest thanks and appreciation to all the speakers today who have taken time to be here with us, despite being unwell. Thank you. And of course, much appreciation to all of you who have joined us today. We look forward to seeing you all, and thank you again on behalf of the Arab International Women Forum and Pfizer. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. Please take care of your sleep.
Thank you. Take care, Dr. Mariam Salamat.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the moderation. That was well done.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Wardiya. Stay safe, please.
Just I want to share with you the view here from Mecca.
الله
I'm going
إن شاء الله يا حيك تقبل الله فدية قلبك لا تنسينا من دعواتك الله يخليك فدية قلبك عمرة مقبولة يا رب العالمين
إن شاء الله.
آمين آمين.
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله.
حيا الله أهل الإمارات عندنا. يلا مع السلامة.
في أمان الله. في أمان الله. مع السلامة. في أمان الله.